What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? It's me, Mikey Pipes. About to head on into the service call. We got just a general maintenance on a Burnham ES2 model hydronic boiler. Hasn't been serviced in 10 years. Remember, when you're watching Pipe Doctor Home Services on YouTube, expect the unexpected. Let's go! So it's a nice boiler.
Yeah.
Who installed it?
A
guy.
Well, it was the gas company when they had the specials away.
Okay.
I think 2010. He was up from I think he was in Glendale.
Cheapest isn't always the best.
Right. You learn all the shortcuts. You only put one pump. He didn't give me any way to vent it. Right.
Oh, remove air.
Right.
Yeah.
So I always have air in the system. He told me this is the biggest.
Oh, I like the pigtail for backup power.
My electrician did that.
Very, very smart. You don't see that too often.
Yeah.
You see that a lot in California.
Yeah, I do.
Where they create a pigtail coming out of the furnace or usually furnaces.
Right.
Northeast has boilers.
Yeah, I just plug the generator.
And they plug it right in. You can do a battery backup.
Oh, you can.
Because it doesn't usually have much power. Once it's running, the circulator, listen, this circulator uses 150 watts of power, but the newer circulators, 4 to 45 watts of power.
Right.
Really not much power. You could run, for a day on a battery.
Right.
So, but yeah, if you wanted a generator, yeah, absolutely. Nice.
Yeah, I just run.
So let me ask you a question with the water heater.
Right.
And I know I'm here for the boiler, but the water heater is part of it since it's tied into it.
Right.
When's the last time you changed the anode rods? Oh, look at this!
I tried to change this,
And what happened?
and
You couldn't get it out?
well, no, I didn't want to shut the whole water off because she was upstairs. So,
Yeah.
and I couldn't get the water to stop flowing out. I mean,
Oh.
so I had no way to shut it off.
Well, you have a zone valve here, which should close, but you should have a valve here anyway. And then
I tried.
there's no valve. Wow, there's no valve on that.
No valve on that.
Wow, you really.
So I tried.
You want me the cheapest bidder?
He was.
Talk about the
Right.
anode rods real quick,
Right.
because we were talking about the piping on the space heating side, the boiler side.
Right.
However, the anode rods sit in the domestic water side of the tank.
Okay.
So if you were to close the domestic cold water, which is this valve here,
Right.
and you were to close the domestic hot water, which you don't have, right? Or you just close the domestic cold and just don't open any of the faucets, and you drain the heater, you'll get the water out of the tank.
Yeah.
And then you could change the anode rods. Would you like me to change the anode rods while I'm here? Or change the low? How long ago did you change the upper one?
Up one, probably 2-3 years ago.
Okay, when you took it out, what did it look like?
It was still some on there.
Some? Like how much some?
It was-
Like a little bit, or just the rod was left?
It
Like
was
a
like
stick?
It was like a half a stick.
Oh, okay. Would you like me to change that while I'm here this morning?
If you can.
Okay, I can. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Let me get some tools out of the truck. We'll do a tune-up on this. We'll do a combustion analysis. We'll do the full works.
Right.
And if you like, I'll use your anode rod. I'll put that in there and we'll call it a day. All right. We have this titanium. And you're running out of hot water. Now, you have what we call an indirect fired water heater, which is the second most efficient way of heating water for domestic hot water purposes, right? The first most efficient way is tankless.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one that goes on the wall.
Now, if you are running out of hot water with this tank, looking at the overall installation, I can tell you why.
Yeah.
Right? Because this tank, if I were to look up the specification sheet for this tank, is it here? Yeah, it's here. No, it was
No, I
boiler.
don't think so.
Oh, really? You threw it out?
He didn't give it to me.
What's this?
Hot water?
What's this? No, this is the reset control. Oh. The titanium, manufactured by Diversified Heat Transfer. There's the TT models, which have the side connections, and the MT, which is the top connections.
Okay.
Here is the rating sheet for the TT. Those are the TT series.
Right.
And let's look at the 180 degrees of boiler water entering, right? And we don't have a 30, a 32, you have a 40. 40 is the smallest.
Okay, 40.
So the first hour rating of hot water at 135 degrees is 202 gallons an hour.
That's a lot of water.
That's a lot of water. Let's put things into perspective. If you had a 40-gallon gas water heater here that went to your chimney, you'll be able to take you know, 2 back-to-back showers are no problem. You know, let's say 7 to 10 minutes each.
Right.
No problem, right? And I think the rated capacity of the first hour is maybe 70 gallons, which is a lot of water.
Right.
You're not using 70 gallons of water an hour of hot water because you mix it with cold water to give you like 105, whatever, 100 degrees of water. So now the reason why you are running out of hot water with this tank is because the installing contractor failed to install a thermostatic mixing valve.
Okay.
It is a valve that gets installed on the domestic hot and cold water lines at the tank itself. Those two, yes. Now, the boiler and the aquastat, which is that temperature control for the tank, is set for 180 degrees. You notice it said 180 degrees there, boiler temperature.
Okay.
So now the boiler comes on to heat this zone, which is what it is. The boiler heats that zone, which is the tank, with 180 degrees of water to approximately 180 degrees. Now, if you allowed 180 degrees of water to leave this tank, you'd have a scalding condition. You'd severely be injured, right? So if you look at the installation manual for this tank, the installer shall install a thermostatic mixing valve, to prevent hazardous conditions to the occupants of the home or the people using the hot water, and to get the rated capacity of the tank. So if you were to install a thermostatic mixing valve on this tank, you would have an abundance of hot water, hence making it the second most efficient way of heating water. Food for thought.
Right. Okay. So usually I keep this like on 130.
Yep.
Yeah. Something like that. I don't know what it's on now.
Right now, it looks like it's on almost 140.
Yeah, because when it gets really cold, I don't know if it does it matter the temperature of the radiator?
Yes. So the incoming water temperature plays a factor in this.
Yeah.
So if you look at this rating sheet, it said we had 165 to 135 degrees of domestic water. 165, 135 domestic water. So you have continuous gallons an hour. After that first hour is 172. That's a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of water. All right, we're going to start a tune-up here on this Burnham Series 2 ES25 model that is about 15 years old. Manufactured in November 2010, 140,000 BTUs of input, output 118. 4 zones with zone valves, 1 circulator. So if any thermostat is on, it should trigger the circulator and tell the boiler to run. Drawback with this, circulator dies, you have nothing whatsoever. So independent circulators is more expensive of an install, but it gives you, backup. So also with zone valves, if one end switch breaks, you may not know that for quite some time. And we'll test these individually by pushing in the zone valve end switch later on in this service call to make sure they each trigger the boiler individually. All right, I am going to take a Phillips screwdriver and take out that shipping screw into that plate that's covering up the burners and take a look at our combustion chamber. Okay. Yeah, needs to be clean, that's for sure. All right, let's take these out and clean them. Easy peasy. Okay, I'm going to take a wire brush and clean the slats on each burner. Going with the slats, just like that. All right, pilot burner assembly, also clean. A little scratching paper and wire brush. Always the fun part. The burners. There's never, ever want to go in easily. Right there. Come on. Oh, man. a pain. Why they feel like well clean. Last but not least. Okay.
No, the first is open.
I mean, oh, okay.
They're all open. You want me to shut those up?
Yes, just turn all of them off except the second floor. Let's raise that up to a temperature where it would be actively calling for heat. Yep, so let's turn off the basement, first floor, and then we will make sure that they work individually. All the burners are clean, nicey nice. A little bit of side cocky here from okay, but the combustion chamber nice and clean. Okay, see we have an outdoor reset control here, and a RB24 low water cutoff. Okay, and then we have that pigtail for a generator backup. We have external transformer for zone valves. And good, let's turn the power on. Good. So we have no resistance. That one is on. Resistance, no resistance. So let's turn off our tank. No, that's good. Okay. Let's lower that. 80. And that is off. So second floor is on. We have a boiler temperature of 137. Let's wait for it to fire
Now,
up.
how accurate is this gauge? Because it's
Generally accurate.
Yeah.
If it's not accurate, it's should be replaced.
It usually never gets above, like, lately, I don't know. Where is it now? That's where it usually stays?
Okay.
I mean, the water pressure is usually on, but the temperature, I think, reads low.
Yeah. But you also have an outdoor reset sensor on it, so.
Yeah.
So right now the set point is 132 degrees because of that outdoor temperature. So right now it's just circulating that hot water, 132 degrees, to the zone. So now this is warm, not hot, but it's warm to the touch. And your return line, which you think is this one, is lukewarm. That's one. This is another. And then that's warm. That feels cool to the touch. That may be the return. Because you have one pipe coming back as the return, and our temperature is dropping. 104, 109, with that set point of 132. So this should fire up shortly. Circulator just turned off. Why did the circulator turn off? So this zone valve here, which has no resistance, is actively calling, but the circulator is not on. And there's the reason. That zone lever is not fully engaged. That lever. So if we push that in, we push up this lever, hit that little nipple. Get in there, right there. Okay, so if we push this, see how it goes on its own now, almost? We have a bad zone valve. So now it's actively calling. And our damper is open. So the problem that you're having with that second floor is that it is not working independently unless another zone is on.
Right, yeah, I always have to keep the first floor on.
Correct. So you have a bad zone valve.
Oh, okay. That solves that problem.
Correct.
Oh, thank you.
See if she goes back on her own with a new power cycle. Okay, there goes the motor. And it stops just short again. So we may have to cut the valve out. We may. Okay, now let's see. With the valve body not attached, will it go on its own? So there opens our call at the motor. And let's reconnect and see if it goes back on its own. No, it's not even moving. Okay. Let's reconnect. There's power. There it goes. If it goes all the way to the nipple, chances are we have to replace the whole valve. And it stops short. So we may be able to get away with just replacing the body, which will save you draining and purging, and you know what I'm talking about. So I have that in the truck. We'll put a new one on, and hopefully that solves the problem. All right, new zone valve body. I kept it in the manual open position. Let's get the perfect. We'll screw in that one and that one. Secure the motor to the body. Let's wire this in. Let's cut out. Okay. And our end switch. There. Valve and the new one. Let's clean this up. Let's strip these off. Back in there. Now we're gonna have our motor connections and our end switch connections. Motor is orange and yellow. And let's take a Wago connector. Let's go to one of the yellows. Let's get another one. 2, 3. And then the other power. Now, let's see if this works. Let's watch that motor. There it goes. And it continues and it pushes in the end switch. Perfect. There we go. All we have to do is wire in our end switch to the 2 reds and problem solved. All right, zone valve's in place. wired up. No resistance. Resistance, resistance, no resistance. Let's start up our Testo combustion analyzer. And let's get our probe installed. Time is a little limited there. Of course. There you go. No idea we got that in there. Let's let this heat up. That is a lot of stress on that. How heavy was it?
It was heavy. It was so heavy that when I unscrewed it, I dropped it and it broke the valve. Snapped it right off.
That's crazy.
Uh-huh.
You must have panicked.
Yeah, there was water all over the fucking place.
Combustion test results. Sticker, QR code, landing page, book a service call. Pipedoc.net. A lot of air. A lot of air. No resistance. No resistance. 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 So just the basement and the indirect is on right now. But there is awfully a lot amount of air here. That is insane. And crazy. Power's off. Resistance. 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 Bucket. Hose. More pressure. Purge. Keep an eye on that pressure. So this is the second floor, or what's marked as the second floor. And nothing really. No real air out of the second floor. That's almost 4 gallons of water. So let's close that. Let's close that. Pressure is a little over 20. Let's dump the bucket and do the first floor, basement, indirect. Water's coming into the return, through the return piping, back around to our supply on top of the circ zone valves.
You can probably feel the cold water, right? To see when that one gets cold, which one it is.
Yeah, not that one.
No,
At least that was the,
that wasn't the top.
at least that we thought was the second floor. It's not. Here comes some air. Let's build up pressure a little bit here. Okay. Next, the basement. Yes, correct. Well, the one labeled basement at least. Here comes the air. Maintaining pressure. indirect zone.
I have no tolerance for snow at this age anymore.
I hear you. Wow. Let's pop her open real fast. Get any air out of here. Out. Pop open the manual feed on the pressure reducing valve. It's a short run. Half a bucket should get all the air out, which it just did. This is now colder. Some residual air pockets coming out. Let's pop that open one more time. Good. Let's close. And let's bring our pressure up to around 15. Right there. Let's turn her on. Our zone valves. No resistance. No resistance, no resistance, all four are on. Circulator kicks on. And hopefully we are quieter now. Vent damper is opening. We are waiting for limit to close. The limit is now closed, and we have spark, and then we have ignition. So you still have some air in here, but it's a lot quieter than it was before. And it sucks that there's not even an easy way to add air removal to this boiler.
Really?
We could add like a spiral vent or air eliminator on the return piping here. And if you do that, I guess we pipe in the boiler water supply below that, and normally the expansion tank goes below that as well. So as any fresh incoming water replenishes lost water in the boiler, it goes through the air separated first, eliminating any air at the point of entry, and the expansion tank, which is naturally below it, but you don't have any room for the expansion tank to go there. But we could theoretically, you could theoretically just leave this as is, cut in a spiral vent here. You can get a 1-inch press one, it makes the job much faster, and then do a quick purge on all the zones, and you'd be fine. There's not even an automatic air valve anywhere here.
Right.
So it's like, how much do you want to do to this thing?
Right.
If you're purging and bleeding every year, do yourself a favor. As we get older, we want to do less aggravation. If you get a pocket of air on the second floor or the first floor, you're not going to have any circulation up there.
Right.
And odds are, shit happens on the worst day, because it's going to be one of those freezing days.
Right.
You're going to get a pocket of air there. You're not going to have any circulation. The pipes are going to freeze, and even when you try to purge, you're not going to get any water out because now it's frozen. It's too late. So we could theoretically add one here and have a nice day, and do a quick little purge, and as water comes back to the boiler, any air will automatically come out. Ideally, it's on the supply side as the water's leaving, going to the zones, but you don't have any room here to do that. They not even have, even if you put a vertical one here, you don't have any room there either. You'd have to put the circulator on the return and put a vertical spiral vent air eliminator here. But how far you want? I'd rather just put it there and have a nice day. It's much cheaper venture and plan. Now, one thing we didn't speak at all about is your outdoor air reset.
Okay.
Or your outdoor reset control. You know what that is?
It's that thing on the side of the house.
You know what it does?
Yeah, if the temperature's not too warm, it doesn't shuts it off. What does it do? It doesn't make it go too warm?
Kind of. Okay, you're getting there. Okay.
Yeah.
So the outdoor air reset option for this boiler, and for most boilers, allows the outdoor air temperature and a formula to dictate the boiler temperature. Okay. Now, an observation, which I almost missed, but this is also part of your problem.
Okay,
of running out of hot water. Because even if you were to install a larger tank, this is where it becomes important. Even if you were to install a larger tank, or even if I were to, and I'm glad we're talking about this, even if I was adding a thermostatic mixing valve that we spoke about to jack up the temperature of the tank, we're still going to have a problem. And the problem...
Does it get hot enough because of the thing outside?
Well, Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes, because of the thing outside, the
Yeah.
outdoor temperature sensor.
Yeah.
But yes, because back to the installation flaw.
Okay.
Okay. This card, like others, has the ability to be connected to the domestic water tank or the indirect water tank. It's not wired that way.
Oh, okay.
So right now, even though all zones are on, more importantly, even though the indirect tank is on, right, the boiler doesn't know that tank is on, or that tank needs to be on, and heat up that tank to hotter than 132 degrees.
Really?
Yeah.
Because of the way they wired.
Because of the way they wired it. And because, and I hate to say it, and I hate to rub salt in the wound, you went with the cheapest bidder.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So we would have to take some time to figure out if we could make this zone valve, right, activate the outdoor reset control. If we can make the zone valve or the thermostat on the indirect, if we can make that activate the outdoor reset,
Right.
then we can jack up the temperature to 180 degrees, and then you can add your thermostatic mixing valve to a new tank or this tank, whatever you want,
Right.
and you'll have that abundance of hot water that you don't have now.
Okay. I follow you.
So, right now, all the zones are on,
Right.
right? But if only the indirect tank was on, right, this card should say, hey, I need to bump this, not 132 based on the outdoor
180.
temperature, 180.
So right now, the way it's wired, it's not communicating.
Correct, because our connections on our card only are for the outdoor air temperature sensor, and the DHW terminals are not being utilized. Yeah, food for thought.